Good morning. Pastor Thomas Nowak, Monona Lutheran Church, Monona, Wisconsin. It's Thursday, June 4th. Our reading is Isaiah 30:26. Moreover, the light of the moon will be as the light of the sun, as the light of 7 days in the day when the Lord binds up the brokenness of his people and heals the wounds infected by his blow. It's called the coming light. Ever noticed the moon's reflection on a wind-stirred lake? It's disjointed and hazy. You can see only a fractured image of the whole, and yet despite the imprecise representation, the moon's light is visible in the reflection. In a similar way, the gospel was revealed in the Old Testament. How precise, how, when, and where, and what was hidden, but the embers of the coming light were visible. So it's like this. The Old Testament is the bud of a flower. Now, everything that's going to make up that flower is in the bud, but you can't see it yet, right? But it's all there. Eventually, the flower blooms. That's the New Testament. The bud is the Old Testament. The blooming flower is the New Testament. And you can look inside the flower and see what's in there now. But in the Old Testament, it was all there. There was nothing missing. See? We just couldn't see the whole picture. But Jesus came on the scene in the New Testament and opened it and made it bloom. And now we can see the whole flower and what's inside of the flower and what the flower gives and offers. You see? So Old Testament is the bud. The New Testament is the open flower. Okay? Good. In a similar way, the gospel was revealed in the Old Testament. The precise how, when, and where, and what were hidden. But the embers of the coming light were visible. Genesis 3:15, God's gospel promise about Jesus coming. So it was right there from the very beginning. Nobody ever went to heaven without belief in Jesus Christ. In the Old Testament, they believed in the promise of the coming Messiah. They looked ahead to 30 AD. We now, in the New Testament, we know about Jesus because he's been born, died, and resurrected. We look back to 30 AD. But there's been nobody that has ever lived on earth that was saved and went to heaven without Christ. Christ is the entry point of heaven from the beginning of time to the end of time. From Adam and Eve's creation to the last person born on earth. Nobody gets to heaven without Jesus Christ. They looked ahead, believed in the promise. We look back and believe in the sacrifice of the cross. And Sunday, the resurrection. Okay? So God's faithful people believed that the coming fulfillment of his promises would free them from their enemies, restore the broken, and be as the sun breaking the horizon at dawn, bringing new understanding and knowledge of God. You see, they had the bud. We stand on the other side of the promises. We have the open flower. Jesus Christ is light that destroys the darkness of sin, death, and Satan. His power over death restores us to true life, and we live in the light of God's grace, holding on to God's promises that he will one day return and finish his work of restoration. And that day, his power and glory will be on full display. And here's our prayer. Jesus, thank you for the promise you gave your faithful people, Genesis 3:15, and the fulfillment we now live in as your children, right? Paul in Romans, if you believe in your heart that Jesus is Christ and confess it with your mouth, you shall be saved. That's all it takes. I can't believe so many people pass up that opportunity. Amen.